and let's start. So for this afternoon, we will be talking about virtual job fairs and events. And we actually have two speakers with us. We have Maricar from TOA Global and Carla from TalkPush. So for the first part, I'll be introducing Maricar, and I'll be giving her the virtual floor to tell you more about who she is and the presentation. So thank you. Maricar.
Hi, Blanche. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here as one of your speakers. And the topic is really very relevant. I'd like to share what TOA Global, especially the talent acquisition space, has been doing with regard to virtual career fair. I am the talent acquisition head. And we started doing virtual career fairs even before the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic. So in the past, I see some of the participants here. I have worked with some of you guys. In the past, in our previous companies, we were used to having or holding in-person career fairs. But now that there's, the coronavirus pandemic, most job seekers and even recruiters are facing so many limitations. So we have the stay-at-home policies, we have social distancing measures. So the question for all of us now is like, how can we host a job fair while keeping our recruiters and candidates safe? So for today, I will be discussing the benefits of virtual career fair or virtual job fair and how you can plan and execute it. I will also be sharing the summary of actions to carry out a virtual career fair. I'm not an expert, but I can definitely share what we have been doing. So let's first define what the virtual career fair is. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so virtual career fair, simply put, it's an online event, and it's hosted by an organization to find the right employees. So a virtual career fair is open to everyone as long as you have a smartphone and you have a good internet connection at home. Everybody can join regardless of geographic location or boundaries as long as you have the smartphone and a good internet connection. So the next slide is very important because we need to discuss and we need to know what the benefits are of holding a virtual career fair as opposed to an in-person or a traditional job fair. So number one, there's easy access for all of your candidates. As long as they have stable internet connection at home, you can use email. Actually, I know TalkPush, when we do this, you have a landing page, right? So in that landing page, you can actually get your candidates or job seekers information, their name, their contact details, email addresses, and whatnot, right? So with that, there is a very easy communication exchange, right? As compared to an in-person job fair wherein when you have high foot traffic during the event, I know how challenging it is to manage all of these candidates. Like in the past, you would have about hundreds and hundreds of applicants in just one hiring event, right? So another benefit of virtual job fair is, it would allow multiple private conversations at the same time safely. So if you are using Zoom or if you're using Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts or Skype, you can actually have breakout rooms where you can communicate with your candidates privately. And it's very important because during hiring events, virtual career fairs that is, there are candidates that would normally ask questions during the event. And it's very vital for us recruiters to answer their questions promptly, okay? And the next benefit is one of my favorites actually. And I know how much, like in one big job fair, for example, I've experienced how stressful it is to organize one job fair. And you need to have at least 2 to 3 months of preparation, plus your marketing expenses. Like, you have to have print out of flyers, streamers. Um, you need to promote it, and you need to cut or like come up with some marketing materials, for you to be able to promote your event aggressively, right? You also need to consider the venue rental. And on top of that, these job seekers will be coming from different locations and will have to spend some amount of money to get to the event itself. And of course, the recruiters also will have to, go to the venue. So these are all the expenses. So if we shift to virtual career fair, it will save us a whole lot of money, less stress, and less pressure for everyone, right? Um, Also, there's access to analytics. So if you are using a virtual platform or an ATS, it's very easy for you to measure how successful the event is. You can measure right away how many candidates applied or how many candidates showed up during the event, showed up virtually during the event, how many passed the initial screening, how many passed recruiter interviews, and processing of the candidates can be end to end if you have the right resources, right? Next, there is a chance to boost your brand. So from pre-promotion, as early as pre-promotion, you can actually come up with a concept on how to promote your event. So one of the things that's very that we have been doing at TOA Global is we highlight our culture. We also talk about career development because these candidates are would ask you, of course, like what's in it for them? Why should they join their company? And I know most of you know this. That's why you are working closely with your respective marketing teams to promote what's in there in your company. And especially now, some companies are offering the work or the remote uh, re- offering remote jobs, and that is actually one of the things that you can pitch into your candidates. Next, easy and quick setup. No need for you to arrange tables, carry banners, decorate the stage, and whatnot. So I have experienced all those things. It was fun, but virtual job fair is something that we can all try for those who haven't. Um, and these are just, there are still a lot of benefits that we can gain from virtual job fair. Um, if you plan to purchase a virtual software platform, um, it may cost you, but then if you try to consider all the other expenses when you are organizing a traditional job fair compared to the virtual job fair, it will only cost you a fraction. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is just a process flow on how to prepare for your virtual event. So number one is work on the concept of your virtual event. What are your objectives? For example, are you aiming to just beef up your pipeline? Or are you aiming to have a targeted event because there are requisitions or open roles that need to be filled? So do you just want to promote your company? It actually depends on your goals and objectives. Would you like to have a small event, or would you like to go local, or would you like to go global? So all these things, because we are also doing client interviews. So we have clients in ANZ and North America who have been, participating in our client virtual events. So next, this is very important for everyone. We need to promote on our social networks. So we need to have a very strong social presence more than ever, because flyering no longer works anymore, right? So go to Facebook, promote your event, come up with the campaigns about your event. highlight your culture, highlight the what's in it for me. And then you can also promote this to on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and your website is a very good ecosystem for you to be able to promote all these events. Because if job seekers go to your website, all they can see would be, the apply button, apply now. But if they see something out of the ordinary, like a virtual event or a hiring event that's being done virtually, it's it's quite a breather for the job seekers, right? Next, choose which software to use. So I don't know, but like if you are not ready to spend a lot of money, to purchase a virtual software or virtual platform, then like what I mentioned earlier, you can make use of Zoom, you can make use of Teams, Google Hangouts. In our company, we make sure we use Zoom or Teams. So Teams works better if candidates have a slower internet connection. So maybe you can also try Teams. Um, Virtual execution. So you are now launching your virtual event, right? So make sure that before the event, during the event, and after the event, you have enough staff or resources to help you out, and make sure that these folks are very knowledgeable about technology. These folks are very knowledgeable about the flow of the event, all right? So that, because these people will help you manage the flow of the event. In my own experience, we do have our fair share of um, issues in when it comes to virtual career fair, especially when we had it the first time. Most of the candidates do not show up because they would message us and say that I don't have internet connection, or like my internet connection is very slow. So those are the things that your team should be able to, have a workaround in case, these issues would arise during the virtual career fair or during your event. Next is chase your candidates. So after the event, it's very important to make follow-ups with your candidates. Since your landing page has everything, all the information about your candidates, then you have the contact number, you have their email addresses. We need to make sure that we touch base with them still, or you can send them an email or a thank you note. You're thanking them about, in participating in your virtual career fair, and let them know what's going to happen um, after their interview with your recruiters or the clients. Okay. And then, of course, the takeaways from the event, you can now measure the success of the event and then evaluate the things that you have done, the good and the bad. No, not really bad, but of course, you need to take note of your AFIs, because there will always be things that you can still improve on. There's always ways to better your virtual hiring event. So you can, you can discuss that amongst your team. And then, the next time you hold an event like this, things will flow smoother. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so I think pretty much I've mentioned these things already earlier. So in terms of dates, I'd like to share what we have been doing. So we choose dates, number one, basis the business requirement. So right now we are hiring for critical roles and very complex roles, very targeted. Um, we just had our virtual career fair last Friday, and this is a very targeted event. Therefore, those who applied from our campaigns on social media were pre-screened, were paper screened and pre-screened before they got to join the virtual career fair. So, but normally we would pick holidays, right? Because basis our numbers, we would have higher foot traffic during holidays because most of the job seekers are just at home. But right now we have to take advantage of the pandemic because, we can reach the job seekers or the potential recruits easily, I mean, easier than before because most of them are just staying at home, right? So as long as you allot or you give your team and yourself at least 2 to 3 months is actually very long. We can actually do that in 30 days or less, as long as you have the concept and your market, you have a very strong collaboration with your marketing team so that in your first week of planning, you already have the concept, you already have the timeline, you already have the materials and marketing. Is able to promote your event in 5 days. And that is what we have been doing actually. So it's very possible, right? So content, plan and schedule the time for the creation of content. So of course, these are the pre-promotions. So right now we have come up with videos on how my company handles the pandemic because we always want to make our job seekers feel that we care about their safety, we care about their health, and that safety is paramount in the Philippines, right? Because I know a lot of job seekers are very scared to go on site and then be processed. And I know some of you have already started processing candidates on site, but we have to be careful that the recruiters and even the job seekers will not be put at risk in terms of in terms of safety and their health, right? So scope, just like what I said, are you aiming to, what's your target? Like, are you aiming to have 100 applicants in this event? Or are you aiming to have like less? Because if you have that uh, tool wherein you can actually pre-screen candidates, then less is better for a virtual job fair because um, it's controlled, and the more participants there are that you might not be able to handle if it's beyond 100 already. So my suggestion is you paper screen them and then you pre-screen them, and those that are qualified are the ones who can actually participate in the virtual career fair. So let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, so for the audience, this is about the promotion of your event. You cannot just promote, and marketing, of course, knows this, right? You can promote your events internally and externally. So you have your internal website, perhaps, or you have, I mean, the website. You can just promote your event there so that your employees will also be aware of it because events like this, I mean, our number one source right now is employee referrals. So if we promote events like this, and once employees see it, they would just refer their friends to join the virtual career fair, right? Um, Configure communication channels. It's very vital as well that we test these channels, right? Social network, email, SMS, WhatsApp. We have to make sure that we maximize all of these because these are, less expensive. So I'd like to share what we have spent or our cost per lead during the last virtual career fair that we had. We only had to pay 124 pesos, and that's our cost per lead. So if you try to compare it to the amount of money that we spend when we would hold the in-person job fair, it's not even 1/8. So you guys can try doing this. Have coverage before, during, and after the fair, just like what I mentioned earlier. You have your team to cover for the pre-event, during the event, and post event. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, I've mentioned this earlier. Um, you can use hashtags or marketing would really help you on how to promote this virtual career fair that you are planning to hold for your organization. And this one's very important, landing page. If you want to measure and if you want to get that data right away, you need to have a landing page. Um, in the landing page, you can actually, it actually depends on you guys. So if you just want the name and the contact number of the candidate, if those pieces of information would be enough for you, that's fine. That's fine. But for those who are doing targeted recruiting, then you can actually put some pre-screening questions there, right? Like how many years of experience do you have? For example, in our case, how many years of accounting experience do you have? Do you have any ANZ or North American experience, or like what are the software that you are familiar with, or what are the softwares, or what's the software experience that you have, or what are the things that, you know, I mean, these are the types of questions that you can actually customize when you come up with your landing page. So next slide. Okay, your career site is the highest traffic place in your digital ecosystem, so there are plenty of eyes to attract. I agree. And since job candidates and applicants are used to seeing apply now when they hunt down your site, advertising your virtual career fairs will be a welcome sight. And this is very true. Chatbot, okay? Chatbot is very important because it will help you spread the word. It will really engage your candidates, right? Your chatbot can also share information about your event, all right? And interaction with or interacting with your candidates before or after they apply for a position is very important, because you know we get to keep our candidates warm, and all the recruiters in here know that very well, right? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this one, I'm not sure if everybody's doing this, but for those who have, for those who are planning to hold a big event wherein you get to have several organizations or companies in that one big event, you need to make sure that you have a nice and captivating virtual booth, right? Next, of course, you need to have a list of vacant positions, and job description for open role is very important. You also need to have your company benefits, like why do they need to join your organization, or any downloadable materials that contain information about your company, map of company locations. They need this so they would know where your office or site is located. You can also have the current PR. And like what I said, don't forget to have staff at your stand every day the event is live. I don't know how many of us are doing this, but for us, you know, we can organize a small event. I mean, just for our requisitions. So next slide, please. Okay, tell the story of your company with videos, presentations, and more. So during the event, you know, you can play lots of, you know, I mean, not a lot of videos, but you can actually have variety of videos to play. You can also invite your executives to deliver messages during the event. Um, Actually, you can also have or run some games during the event. I mean, games that can be done online for you guys to get them participate, because we don't want to bore our candidates while waiting for their turn to be interviewed, right? So let's have the next slide. Okay, so now that you know we are doing the virtual career fair, use a personal touch to make a good impression. Write your evaluation questions and upload the content of the brand as well as a detailed description of each of the jobs. We can also tell the company story, mention employee success stories. This is, you know, this is very effective. Testimonials from your employees. Um, TOA has been doing this actually, and um, this is one of the best ways to attract potential recruits because they see that your employees are happy, right? These employees would talk about the culture, so somehow they would have an idea on how it is to be part of your organization. Next, you have to make sure candidates can find recruiters or assistants who can help them answer their questions at all times. So if you are using Zoom, for example, you can have breakout rooms in Zoom and make sure that there is a recruiter in each and every room so that if there are candidates who have questions regarding the event or the application process or the roles that they are applying for, then there will they can have their questions answered promptly. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so there are common incidents, and even if we plan this ahead of time, there will always be cases when we're in it will not really turn out to be 100% perfect. All right, and that's fine. That's just fine. Um, but it's if you are preparing for a virtual career fair, it's important to practice. All right, it won't ensure that your event would run smoothly, but it will help your recruiters feel prepared. And if you're prepared, you are more confident in running your event. So before the event, you can actually jump on a call and give them a run through. Everybody need to test the technology that you will be using. All these things, for you guys to be more prepared before holding a virtual career fair. Next is promote. Um, of course, you have to start announcing your event 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So if you're holding a career fair in, let's just say, end of September, then you have to start promoting your event as early as now, right? Um, this one is very common. We always encounter this connection issues. That's why we have been receiving lots of candidates who would fail to show up during the event no matter how interested they're in because of some technical difficulties. All right. Also for connection issues, make you have to make sure that they can access your web event as easy as possible. So if I were you, just consider simple platforms, not the complicated ones. As we need to allow users to join easily, and the more user friendly your platform is, the better. And this is very important. Again, do various tests before going live. So talking about technical difficulties, you have to make sure that you and your team of recruiters are comfortable with the technology that you are using beforehand. So again, test everything before posting or hosting the event. If you want to have a smooth virtual career fair. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so we have talked about the benefits of virtual career fair, how to carry out a successful virtual career fair. This is just a summary of actions that we need to do. Again, don't forget number one, you have to have clear objectives or clear goals before organizing a job fair. Like, what do you want to do? How many candidates do you plan to have during the event? How many offers or hires would you like to, is your target, right? This is very important. Or are you just planning to have a healthy pipeline so that in the future, if there is a need for you to hire those candidates, then you can always have um, um, a pool of candidates, right, ready to be deployed. Next, choose a software that suits your vision and needs. This doesn't have to be very, very expensive. Okay, you can just make use of simple platforms. We can actually now, I mean, you can use Zoom for free, right? Microsoft Teams is actually offering it for free, if I'm not mistaken. So you can make use of all those. They're free, right? You don't need to spend on anything, but you have the budget. I mean, that's better, right? Create a promotion plan in networks according to your desired audience. Again, this is something that you will have to work. You have to work with the marketing on event promotion pre and during and post, right? Even after the event, you also need to promote it. That's actually how we do it. Create downloadable materials for attendees during the fair and for follow-up. Make sure that you can measure the fulfillment of your objectives. This is important because if we cannot measure how successful the event is, I don't think you will um, have a part of your event, right? You will, of course, our leaders will always ask for the numbers, like how effective the event is, right? So make sure that it's measurable, all right? Do several tests and plan B for any digital failure. Educate candidates on what to expect from the digital job fair and how to navigate it. So your recruiters can actually give them a call on, there are candidates who are not really that knowledgeable in the usage of technology, and we have to understand them. So recruiters should always be there to support them and give them a helping hand in case they don't know how to use it, right? So it's something that we can do to our candidates. They're trying their best to find a job. Now that we're holding virtual career fairs, all we need to do is to help them get that job. And one way for them to be successful in this virtual career fair is they know how to navigate the technology, right? From the beginning up until the end. So I think we still have a couple of slides more.
Yes.
Okay, right. So if you have questions, because I would love to share some of the things that, I mean, even the insights and some of my opinions on virtual career fair, just let me know, Blanche, later on. Thank you.
Yes, we have a Q&A button, and I'm seeing a couple of questions actually. So after Carla's part, we will be opening the floor for more questions, and Maricar will be answering all of the questions there. So just for the next part of the webinar, we have Carla, one of our customer success managers, to talk to you about your tech options and how you can utilize the current tech that you have and talk push for our clients to help you stand out at these events. So Carla?
Thanks, Blanche, for the introduction. And I would also like to thank Ms. Maricar for sharing great insights on how we can prepare for a virtual career fair. So before we proceed with the next topic, I would just like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Carla, and I am a customer success manager in TalkPush. So I've been with the company for almost a year now, and this is actually the very first time that I'll become a speaker for an event like this, for a webinar. So please bear with me. But I'll try to make this fun and quick for you guys. So let's start. Next slide, please. Okay, so virtual career fairs has been a thing for quite some time now, but before it's not as successful as the in-person events because candidates or people would still opt to go um, to the events and be interviewed face to face. But as what Ms. Maricar mentioned, since we cannot do or host any events because of the pandemic, virtual job fairs or career fairs became the next big thing. Next slide. And now I will be sharing with you guys how you can leverage on technology, specifically TalkPush, to enhance your candidate's experience. So one of the common challenge for this type of events is how um, one of the common challenge for this type of events is how you can pre-screen the candidates who will join your job fairs or your career fairs. So I saw some of our clients actually before that they created Facebook or events page on Facebook for their virtual job fairs, and just putting there they're putting there the link to the Zoom where the career fair is gonna happen. So it's actually a good strategy, but the problem is everyone has access to the link. So it's accessible to everyone, even those who are not registering to the event page itself. And um, so the clients or the recruiters do not have access or control on who attends or joins the job fair. So another problem here is that there is no way for them to track or to get the personal information of the candidates. So I think they can only get their names and also their Facebook profiles. But aside from that, we don't have other informations from the candidate. And this is where stock push comes in. So can you please go to the next slide, Blanche? Another slide. Okay, so let's take Concentrix for example. So they created an event on Facebook to let people know that they will be having a virtual career fair. And as you can notice in the description box, instead of putting the Zoom link there, they use the landing page link of a campaign they created for this specific event in TalkPush. So every time that a candidate clicks on this link, they will be redirected to the landing page, which we will be showing on the next slide. Okay, so this is how the landing page looks like, and this is where the candidates will be redirected. So they will fill out their personal information such as first name, last name, their email address, and also their phone numbers. And the clients can also put in some questions here that is related to their minimum qualifications. So basically questions like where are they currently residing, what is their highest educational attainment, or questions about BPO experience, for example. So yeah, next slide. Another case in point would be iCore, who is also hosting virtual job fairs every now and then. So with iCore, they opted to show it as a job card inside their chatbot. So whenever a candidate is exploring jobs through Facebook Messenger, the candidates can also see that they will have a job fair coming up. So yeah, next slide, please. So all candidates who completed the questions, or all of the candidates who completed the registration part, will automatically get a message from TalkPush or from their respective companies informing them of either about the pre-screening process, which is something that iCore is doing. So they're informing the candidates that their profiles are being screened by the recruiters, and then they will let them know after some time if they will be included on the first batch of the career fair. So, or the other option is the candidates will get a confirmation message of their registration with the link for the Zoom invite of the job fair. So the latter is being done by Concentrix, by the way. So next slide. Prior to the event, as a recruiter, you would want to follow up and remind your candidates about the upcoming virtual job fair. So this is also the part where you can share with them again the link for the virtual job fair, or this can also be the part wherein you're going to tell them that they can attend the first batch of your virtual career fairs. So and this process can actually be done easily inside TalkPush, since you can send messages to many candidates at once. So next slide. So in a world or in our world right now, where we're switching everything to digital, technology is making all things possible. And there are a lot of video conferencing applications or platforms that we can actually use to make this kind of event or to make this virtual career fairs possible. And I will be sharing with you some of the tools that could help you pull this kind of event off. Actually, Miss Maricar shared some of it, or one of what I'll be showing you earlier. So Next slide. Okay. So there are a lot of tools in the market that you can use, but I have here two platforms that are kind of reasonable when it comes to pricing and also the internet connection. And if we're also going to consider the data consumption for this kind of tools. And um, Miss Maricar mentioned about Zoom, and I think everyone's also familiar with Zoom. And right now, on this webinar, we're actually using Zoom. So recently, they launched what we call breakout rooms. So Miss Maricar also like mentioned a little bit of this earlier, but to give you guys more detail about it, breakout rooms can actually allow you to split your meeting rooms up to 50 sessions or 50 small rooms, which is perfect for virtual career fairs. And each room can have like one or two recruiters where the candidates can go in, ask questions, and they can also be interviewed inside those specific rooms. And another platform would be Hopin. So Hopin is particularly new in the virtual event space game, but they offer some cool features that truly mimics an in-person event. So they have five main areas of video collaboration, and it's called reception, stage, sessions area, networking, and expo room. So those areas actually have different purpose. So like for example, the reception area is where the candidates can see the overview of the entire event. And the stage area is where the keynotes are given, and it can actually support up to 100,000 um, concurrent viewers. And the sessions area would be somehow similar with roundtable sessions or discussions, and this can also be used for Q&A, so question and answers. And we also have the networking area wherein um, you can be randomly matched to the attendees of the webinar, and you can meet with them, talk to them as well. So that's actually a cool feature. And the last one would be an expo area. So this is somehow similar to virtual booths. So those are the different areas that Hopin offers. And right now, I actually have here a short video that will show you how Hopin works. So can you please play the video on the next slide, Blanche? Thanks. I don't think we have audio for this, but basically, um, there, as you can see, messages, keynotes, sessions, and also networking part. And this is the expos area where the virtual booths are happening. And yeah, that's it. It's a short slide, but I think after this webinar, since we'll be sending you guys this material, we can send you also the link to this YouTube video so you can watch it for yourself, because it's a bummer that it doesn't have any audio. But anyway, that's for Hop In. So after the event, the next thing that we need to do as recruiters or as employers would be to chase your candidates, reach out to them, maybe thank them also for joining your career fair. And you can also send them materials that you used during your event so that they have this reminder or anything that you can send them. And after this, reaching out to them or following up to those candidates after the career fair is can also be done easily inside TalkPush. So again, we can just send them bulk messages inside TalkPush, so you won't have to like send them emails or messages one by one. So that's no hassle at all. And aside from that, you can monitor your job fair performance in TalkPush, since you will have the visibility of how many candidates registered in your event. So you can then compare it with the data that you have about on how many attended and how many were interviewed, how many were offered, and were hired as well on that specific event. So once you have all those data, you can summarize those. You can summarize your takeaways and use it for your next career fair. And that's it. You're done. That's it. You're done with your virtual career fairs. And if you guys are planning to have virtual career fairs soon, or if you want to have a virtual job fair soon, you can definitely reach out to us in TalkPush, since we can help you out in organizing everything, in mapping out the flow, or um, maybe we can look at different features that we can maximize further that we have inside TalkPush. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening and have a great day ahead. Blanche?
Okay, so for the next part, we have a couple of minutes left. So may I invite Maricar back? There you go. And we have a couple of questions actually, so I'll go straight to the questions. Okay. Okay. Let's start with a question from John Paulo Madia. What technology are you using to host and manage the traffic in your virtual fairs?
Right. So we are using Zoom currently, but then like what I mentioned earlier, we want a more controlled environment, right? So once we promote our campaigns on social media, so there's a landing page. So all the applications would go to the landing page, right? And then we paper screen and phone screen them before they can actually attend our virtual career fair. So that way we get to tap quality candidates, right? And it's Zoom that we use, but you just make sure that if you're going to be using that platform, make sure that you get to filter the participants before letting them join. Although you can actually create unlimited breakout rooms, right, Carla, on Zoom. They can have unlimited breakout rooms there, but you know what, if you have limited staff too, or team members who can actually man those breakout rooms. So I am suggesting Zoom. I am also suggesting Microsoft Teams. We have just started Microsoft Teams, but it works actually. If your potential recruits have slower internet connection at home, they can try that. It's just the same process. Once they have received the invite, all they need to do is to download the app, right? And then they can use it and join the event.
Okay. Carla, is there anything that you would want to add?
So the candidates can actually access Zoom via browser, so they don't even need to download the app. If yeah, they can just access us via browsers. And I actually agree with Miss Maricar. I think it's best that whatever available to you guys, whatever it is that you are using, make the most out of it or maximize it.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm looking at a very interesting question. So hello, this is the first time that we will be doing this. What are targets that I should set for my team for our first virtual career fair?
It depends on like how many requisitions do you need to hire, right? For example, for September, are you looking at hiring, let's say 100 agents, right? Then you need to plan like how many, because if you organize a virtual career fair, you expect that candidates will come from all your sourcing channels, not just from that event alone, right? Because you will also promote this event internally. Therefore, all candidates from your employee referral source will also, will potentially join your event. So the question is, how many? Like, let's in your goal, like, what percentage, like how many from that job fair should be able to contribute to your total requisitions for the month, for example. Um, in my case, I would, for example, if we're hiring 100 for this month, that event alone should be able to contribute at least like 20%, right? Or even higher, because like I said, these are pre-screened candidates already, and these are qualified candidates, and the conversion rate will be higher than those candidates that are being processed on a normally. I mean, how we do it, like recruiters would call, interview via, I mean, still via Zoom or sometimes via phone if the candidate doesn't have internet connection at home. So it depends. Know your target first, your overall target in your space, and then part of that, because you cannot get everything from the virtual career fair, especially if you're just starting. No, I mean, set a target that is realistic for you and your team members. That's what I can suggest.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. And we have another question. Can you please tell us about the percentage of hires that you are getting from virtual career fairs versus other channels? We plan to do it in our company, but we're struggling to quantify the definition of a successful virtual career fair.
Right. So there are so many contributing factors for you to be able to get your desired results. So of course, we are recruiters and we want to protect our numbers all the time, right? So again, you need to set a realistic target. If it's your first time, do not aim so high. I mean, it's okay to have goals, but you have to make sure that the numbers are realistic enough to meet, and it's your first time. Now, once you've seen, once you've measured your first event and you've evaluated all the highlights and lowlights, then do it better next time. In my own experience, during the first run of our virtual career fair, yeah, we did pre-screening. But I mean, in our last virtual career fair, it's really, really targeted, that it's from paper screening to phone screening to initial interview. We had to make sure that these accountants or bookkeepers or admin assistants are not just qualified, but they should have that global experience that our clients need or require from our candidates. So if we do that, if the event is targeted, then you can set, a higher bar for you and your team members. And you can confidently say, okay, from I'm expecting, let's just say 30 uh, qualified candidates, and these are all screened, right? Everybody passed the online assessments and whatnot, like 50% of that or more would receive offers or will get hired in this company. So me, I'm always careful. I don't want to commit a number that we can't reach, because at the end of the day, it's me and my team who's going to work on reaching that goal. So be kind to yourself at first. And then once you're an expert in running these events, then you can confidently tell the business that, okay, I'm ready to hire more. And this is our pass rate now. Yeah. So little by little, you aim higher.
Thank you for that. I agree 100%. Set realistic targets for your company to really
Yes.
depend. Okay, so we have another question. How do I promote my virtual career fair? We do not get a lot of engagement on our Facebook posts. Do you have recommendations so that we can get traction?
If they don't engage, like they don't. Okay, when we do virtual career fairs, also on top of promoting it, right? Of course, we would always promote it on Facebook and on our website. Um, this is, I'd like to share this. There are a lot of candidates who would click on apply now, and who would be rerouted to the online form, right? And they would key in their name, contact details, and whatnot. But like if you get to paper screen them, they're not really qualified. So from leads to hires in my organization, it's I don't know if there's 5%. Like if you get 5% from leads to hires, I mean, you'd be lucky, right? Um, so what we do is, on top of those leads coming from our campaigns, um, for that event, we also target passive candidates. We really headhunt on LinkedIn. So we don't want to rely on just applications alone. Because if you target passive candidate, if you do headhunting, you are make sure that you are getting the right talent. You are getting quality candidates. So I know it. I mean, they would engagement would be lower when in terms of promoting this to passive candidates, but we're all ambassadors. We all need to be ambassadors of our company, right? So you can't just depend on your campaigns. Everybody must do their part also in promoting. Ask your team members to promote the event on their own Facebook page, promote it on Instagram, on LinkedIn, right? Everybody's on LinkedIn right now. I mean, more than ever. I mean, I've seen so many people looking for jobs on LinkedIn. Why don't we go to all these social media platforms? And I mean, there will always be candidates who are looking for jobs because number one, they have been laid off because of the pandemic. Number two, they want to have a career change, or they want to, try it with another organization. So those are
Carla?
the things that you can do. Yeah. If you're
Yeah.
getting low engagement.
Okay. How about you, Carla? With our clients, is there any insights that you want to share?
Yeah, aside from what Miss Maricar shared with us, like sharing it also to other social media sites like LinkedIn and maybe Instagram or Twitter, if you guys have those kind of accounts. So one thing that you can do would be sharing your virtual career fairs or your event page on Facebook groups, because if you are hiring specifically for CSR positions, for example, there are a lot of Facebook, yeah, there are a lot of groups on Facebook that is basically targeting those type
Mhm.
of applicants. So you can share your event pages, the link to that to different Facebook groups, so you can get more traction. So yeah, that's one thing that you can do to increase the
Mhm.
engagement.
Okay. We actually have a couple of questions coming in, but it's already 4. Maybe we can extend just for a bit to address some of these. If not, we can always address these on email, or you can reach out to either Carla or Maricar on LinkedIn for more questions. Okay, so let's just answer a few more of these. Um, is it safe or convenient to have all candidates for different job openings, both entry level for operations and mid senior level, mixed up in one virtual hiring event?
Well, I can just speak for what I know is better for um, the team, right? I suggest if you're hiring for entry level and mid level, you have to hold these events separately, right? Because unlike physical or in-person mega job fairs, right? We're in, they everybody can just go there. They just need to, they just all they need to do is to look where your booth is. They can go there and submit their CVs, right? Well, it's not the same case as to, when you're holding a virtual career fair. We have the power of technology right now, and the more targeted our event is, the better, right? For example, this month you plan to hold 2 career fairs, right? For the first half of September, you can have the entry level or the Asian hiring event, virtual career fair, and then 2 weeks after that, then you can have the support hiring or mid level hiring event. So, I mean, that's just my suggestion. But if some of you guys have tried holding events that are targeting both entry level and mid level, then and it was effective for you guys, then you can still continue to do so.
Yeah, I agree with this, Maricar, also. For virtual career fairs, I think it would be better if it's going to be like really targeted. Like for example, if you would only want to have like, yeah, for entry level positions, let's create one for entry level and another one for the mid senior level. And maybe what we can do after would be, if we got all of the list of the candidates who registered, and those there are candidates who can be recycled or maybe reprocessed for the mid senior level, then maybe we can do it online or offline, like reach out
Mhm.
to them and maybe ask them like, maybe you would want to apply to this position instead, because we see or we notice that your profile would be suitable for this position. So yeah, and I think it would also um stop, or it will not create any confusion to the candidates who will be joining the career fairs on which type of jobs or entry level or positions are they going to apply for. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have another question. How do we re-engage candidates who signed up but did not join the actual virtual career fair?
Right, it's a wonderful question, and it's something that we experience every time we would hold a virtual career fair. So you have to make sure that you keep them warm still. You know their number, you know their email addresses. Just reach out to them, and it's either you can, if that particular candidate is unable to attend the scheduled career fair, then because of some, let's just say, internet connection issues, then you can still interview the candidate by calling her or him via mobile, right? Or if the candidate really wants to join a virtual career fair because he or she has never tried it before, then we can always reschedule the candidate. We just have to make sure and let and remind our team members that we should always keep our candidates warm, and we should know what is happening to their application. That's very important. That's why if you have an ATS or whatever software that is to track your candidates and give them updates in every step of their application, then that would really improve the candidate experience. And if we were once candidates or applicants, right? And we would want to be updated. We would want them to update us on whatever is happening to our application. So just send them. I mean, you can send them text messages like, "Hi, yeah, we're still. I mean, just be there, keep them warm, right? Let them know that we are still in the process of processing, or we are still in the middle of processing other candidates, so we can set expectations to them."
Yeah. So re-engaging candidates who signed up but did not really join the actual career fair is really easy to do if you have TalkPush or if you are using TalkPush, because as I have mentioned earlier, you can send messages to a lot of candidates at once, and you can choose to send it via email or SMS as well. And if they have WhatsApp, you can also send it through WhatsApp. So we also have like an outbound call feature inside TalkPush where you can use to call the candidates and interview them on the spot. And yeah, that's how you can engage your candidates if you are using TalkPush.
Okay, great. And since for the interest of time, we'll answer one last question. We still have a couple, but I'll send you an email and I'll relay these questions to our speakers and distribute it via email. Okay, so last question. Do you have insights on the effectivity of these job fairs? From your experience, what are the conversions we should expect from our virtual career fair footfall?
Are we talking about footfall? Because footfall wise, if you're holding a virtual career fair right now, I mean, you expect hundreds, I mean, tons and tons of applications. But with regard to footfall, these are, it depends. Are these the ones that have been pre-screened already? Right? So, are these the ones that have been phone screened? I think that's what the other companies are doing, right? They call them first before they make them attend the event. So, the conversion rate of 20% from that virtual career fair is high enough, and that will really help you guys close your hiring requirements for that particular month or quarter. From my own experience, it's 20%, and what we're hiring are really targeted roles, and that's surprisingly a very good number already. But for generic roles, right? I mean, that could even go up or higher than 20%. So when marketing would promote these events on social media, I'm sure you know for a fact that they target demographics, right? So if you want to target, for example, if you're just hiring experienced call center agents, then there is always a way on how to target them on Facebook. But if you really want to target really experienced, I really suggest LinkedIn. But if you're looking for generic customer service reps or, you know, like what Carla mentioned earlier, you can, promote your event in different Facebook groups, right? Here, because I'm here in Pampanga, I've joined a lot of Facebook groups already. Pampanga, Buy and Sell, Pampanga, Jobs. Those are the groups that I've joined. And, I get to see the quality of candidates or job seekers there also. I mean, it's great to see how the market is thriving in the midst of pandemic.
Okay, I think, Carla, is there anything that you would want to add?
None. I'm good.
Okay. Since we went a bit over time, so thank you again, Maricar, for being with us. Thank you, Carla, for sharing your insights. Thank you, everyone, who stayed. Feel free to ask any questions. We'll send you an email and the copy of the slides after this. And yes, have a good day and see you at the next webinar. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.